You are now tuned into the sounds of Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
Tell me what your name is. Tell me what you like and all your secrets. I just wanna go over the details. Let me inside of your mind. I know I just met you, but something tells me that you might be into talking to a stranger with a tattoo. Baby, I'm one of a kind. There's a reason we're here, there's a fire in the air that neither you or me could deny. Boy, I see how you stare up and down everywhere. I can tell you're far from shy. So let's talk till we drop, or till we get kicked out. Let's just say what we want, come on, spit it out.
You are now tuned in to Big Nate Sports Talk, the show that's on all the time, anytime. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for all content. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host, Nathan Snell. Bring your sports game with Big Nate Sports Talk.
And thank you, Mr. Handy, for that wonderful, wonderful intro. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's your host, Nathan Stella, Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. I hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all staying safe. I hope you're all staying warm. And it's been a couple crazy weeks of weather. Happy holidays. Christmas is around the corner. I hope Santa Claus treats each and every one of you well. Before we get into the video, there's a few things I can say up front. I do apologize. It's been a couple weeks since you last saw me. Dealing with school, and I'm done for the semester. Also, too, been dealing with some technical issues with some stuff behind the scenes, and those things have been resolved. Hopefully, starting tomorrow, we'll be back on track. But season 6, season 12, this will end abrupt. This will end once the year's over, and we'll start again in the new year with season 13. A couple things. The rest of season 11 has not been uploaded, so it'll be my goal before the year is up to ensure every episode is uploaded. That way, everyone has up to date on the episodes up and before season 13. A couple things happened. We're now in week 6 of college basketball, men and women. We've been behind. Recapping Maryland basketball, just been behind on that. You haven't seen me the last few weeks with the Baltimore Ravens and Washington Commanders, behind on that. So you'll see a couple of videos of the Ravens tomorrow. The Lady Terps, they play tomorrow. The men, I think they play, if it's not tomorrow, it's Friday. Couple things on that. I started writing for Maryland Sports Blog. I will be covering the Maryland Terrapins and the Washington Mystics. I wrote my second piece after our glorious win over the Yukon Huskies. Talking about Lady Terrapins, congratulations. So be tuned in for that as we progress. Tomorrow we're recapping the Baltimore Ravens being atrocious against the Cleveland Browns, and painfully the Washington Commanders losing to those New York G-men. Sean Spencer, what's going on, buddy? Hope you're all doing well. Good to see you, buddy. Great episode of the Round Table. Shout out to Sean Spencer, the head of the table of the Let's Talk Football community. It's been a wonderful, wonderful pleasure being a part of that community, even though sometimes I have to put my head through a table. No, I'm just kidding. But that's enough introductions. As you see the title, this, along with the NFL mock draft, this was supposed to be an episode that's supposed to happen weeks ago. Didn't happen, but that's okay. Now we're catching up. we're 6 weeks into the college basketball season, and the WNBA draft will be around the corner soon, next year. And a couple things that stood out to me. A couple of people reached out, and I showed them this list of what I was doing, and they're like, "Well, most of your list makes sense. The only thing is, that clip is gold. It is. I have to find that episode. It was episode really quick. He's mentioning. I went off on T.J. Ward because of an ignorant comment he made about Ron Rivera, if I'm not mistaken. In the terms of this is during the pandemic. He's getting chemotherapy and different things. And he made an ignorant comment. I have to find that episode. But back to what I was saying. This has to be arguably the best generational talent of young women coming into the W for next year. I think next year as well has some generational talent. I think last year's, I think we're still kind of figuring out some kinks. I think there was some hits and there were some misses. When I look back on it, I think there were some screw ups. I think everybody knows that. And then really the pandemic. Honestly, in my opinion, the pandemic picks, they just honestly most of them have not panned out. It's really been honestly disappointing. Especially the number 1 overall pick has not grown at all during her time in Dallas, which is Charlie Collier. But with this draft class, I think it's a new direction. This is for some franchises. This is your future, and we start with the lottery draft. So the Indiana Fever were awarded the number 1 overall pick for the 2023 WNBA draft.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
What's that? Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game. Another game.
And then with the second overall pick, it was the end of an era. Minnesota, Sylvia Fowles, and also Nafisa Collier did not play most of the season due to pregnancy. So this is a new era for them. The Indiana Fever, I think it's going in the right direction. I do expect an Indiana Fever team to be different. I don't think Tiffany Mitchell, Victoria Vivians will be back. I think they'll depart in free agency. They've clearly shown that they're building around Kelsey Mitchell. Minnesota, Sylvia Fowles is not there. This is now Nafisa Collier's team. There were some things that Cheryl said about certain players in her exit interview that I found very, very interesting. So I do expect that Lynx team to be different. They did invest some money in some players, and they've not lived up to the end of the deal. Atlanta, to me, surprised. Well, almost everyone can agree, surprised everybody. I think I had them making the playoffs. I do think that this pick is going to help them get over the hump, because I do think Ryan Howard needs some shooters around her, and I also think Atlanta needs to start working on their paint presence. And then there's us, the Washington Mystics. Another year we were this close. I was crossing my fingers to have number 1 overall pick, but that didn't happen. How that happened was we had a 3-way trade with the Los Angeles Sparks and Atlanta Dream last year. We had the number 1 overall pick last year, which should have been Ryan Howard, but it turned out to be Shakira Austin, who's panned out did well in her rookie year. Now this year, obviously, luck was not on our side, and the chances of getting Aaliyah Boston are looking very, very slim.
I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. This is disgusting. It's disgraceful. It's embarrassing.
any sense. This is unacceptable. Unacceptable. And something needs to be done about it. Quick, fast, and in a hurry.
And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, with the number 1 overall pick, painfully, the Indiana Fever select Aaliyah Boston out of South Carolina. It's a no-brainer. Listen, Aaliyah Boston, the accolades speak for itself. She's the best player in the nation. She's the best player in this draft. I mean, you just look every year since she's been in South Carolina, it's just greatness. Her basketball IQ is second to none. I mean, you see each year, I've noticed her game is expanding, especially when you have, you can use some extra firepower. Again, you're clearly building around Kelsey Mitchell. Then you have, even though I was really tossed. I was really tossing the idea of Aaliyah Boston not being the 1 overall pick. Please hear me out. Because of a couple things. One, you drafted Alyssa Smith, Queen Enegbo, Emily Inksler, Lexi Hall. Indiana could use a wing player and another guard play behind Kelsey. Because I don't see Indiana re-signing Tiffany Mitchell or Victoria Vivians. I don't see that. What I see Lynn Dunn now clearly building for the future. And my question is, okay, you kind of now have a loaded front court. So something tells me that they're going to look for a wing player or there's going to be a trade. Because I can't see, unless someone's okay with coming off the bench, which will most likely be Queen Enegbo, to have 3 front court players. You drafted 3 front court players, especially 2 last year, and then this year. I have some questions. I think they need to strictly focus on wing scoring because they need some scores on the wing. But it's a no-brainer that Aaliyah Boston will be the number 1 overall pick. I mean, she's definitely a franchise changer without a shadow of a doubt. And I mean, what Indiana needs, they need everything but the kitchen sink. They need the exorcism. They need holy water. They need everything. But I think the biggest thing they need to focus on is wing depth because they do have the 7th overall pick. We'll get to that. But then there's a possibility she could stay at South Carolina, even though I believe she's a senior. Now she's a junior. She could stay. So I also considered Haley Jones out of Stanford being the number 1 overall pick. I'm just saying. I'm just looking at how Indiana constructed. I just look how they looked at the draft last year. Indiana put me in a tough one here. Definitely. With the 2nd overall pick, the Minnesota Lynx select Elizabeth Kitley out of Virginia Tech University. To me, this is clearly a retooling stage for Minnesota. Most likely Elizabeth will declare for the draft. Elizabeth is very versatile. She's efficient on the offensive side of the ball. She's 6'6", tenacious rebounder. I think she's arguably the best post player other than Aaliyah, with her ability to play back to the basket. Whether that's back to the basket, face up, attack the dribble, attack off the dribble, does not matter. Even in pick and roll situations, she can stretch the floor. And with a system like Minnesota, Sherry will love a player like that. That's just me. She definitely has the tools to be a star in this league. I consider Aaliyah Boston here too. because I think also too they could also use a ball handler, but again they have the 12th overall pick in the same draft. So stay with me because I don't think I mean whatever happens in free agency, I think will determine how they attack the draft. But I think right now Elizabeth Kitley, third overall pick, the Atlanta Dream select Haley Jones. I think the biggest thing is wing depth. Um, Atlanta clearly has rebuilt the culture, and they have a star in Ryan and a superstar in Ryan Howard. Um, to me, they need to start putting some shooters around her um, because I'm looking at what they have. It's not bad, but Tiffany Hayes, they have the right to negotiate her contract. Um, she's been dealing with injuries the last couple of years. Um, I'd like to see what Ari McDonald does going forward because she did have kind of a breakout the last couple of weeks of the season last year. Um, Haley Jones, to me, um, athleticism, very versatile, high basketball IQ, um, brings a lot of things to the table. Um, and also to her perimeter shooting is arguably some of the best I've seen, especially watching them play Maryland last year in March Madness. So, and she can defend 1 through 5 on the floor defensively. And if you're Atlanta, I take a player like this. Now, with the 4th overall pick, the Washington Mystics, select Maryland's own Diamond Miller. Okay, really quick. Washington they need a lot. We really need 3-point shooting and a shot creator. The Washington Mystics truly lack a shot creator. I consider Ashley Jones in this position. But I like Diamond because when I was listening to the introductory press conference for our new head coach, Eric Tebow, after 20 years, Mike Tebow has stepped down as head coach and has now moved to the GM role. Eric made it clear that he wants a more like a 3-and-D offense next year. And Diamond Miller fits that type of system. 6'3", athletic. And if you look at Maryland, they play at a high pace. I mean, she's averaging about 17 a game, if I remember correctly. The only thing I would say is a red flag of taking Diamond is her injuries, especially last year. She missed a good chunk of last year with a knee injury. That's something to watch out, but I think she'll be fine. If you pushed me, Ashley Jones out of Iowa would be interesting, but to me, Diamond makes the most sense out of so far what is coming off the board. And I think she'd do well with the Mystics. You're playing alongside Ariel Atkins, Natasha Cloud, Elena Deladon, who need shooters because I'll be honest, watching them play Seattle the first round of the playoffs was a complete eyesore, particularly shooting the ball. And they need that. And I think Diamond definitely will bring a lot of that to Washington. With the 5th overall pick, the Chicago Sky, which was originally the Phoenix Mercury's pick. But before we get into that, I want to take this opportunity. I know it's already happened, but welcome home, Brittany Griner. Brittany Griner has made it clear that she will play this upcoming season. I wish her well. I will continue to pray and have hope that those that are detained, not just in Russia, but across the road, are all brought home safely. But Chicago has this pick with a trade with Diamond DeShields. And with the 5th overall pick, the Chicago Sky select Ashley Jones. I also consider a Rakia Jackson here. To me, Chicago has a lot to figure out who's staying and who's not. Candace Parker has made it clear that she's staying. Courtney Vanderstoot's a free agent. Um, that team is a little older now. I mean, especially Quigley. You don't know if she's going to come back another year. Um, also have to consider, can you at least get another conference final appearance? Cameron, what's going on, bro? Good to see you. I think that's the biggest thing Chicago has to focus on is who's staying, who's not. Because if you look, I mean, most of their core players are unrestricted free agents. So I had to see what that happens. I mean, Chicago needs scoring, needs some versatility. It actually fits that for them, especially in that kind of system with James Wade, great basketball head coach. And I mean, she's averaged 20 points and she shot over 30% from three the last 4 seasons at Iowa State. I mean, she's arguably one of the best offensive scorers. She'll impact the Chicago Sky in many ways. For a guard her size, she can rebound the ball, great vision, and she has great basketball IQ. And seeing some of the highlights of her, she doesn't get easily intimidated. And I think that she would be a great fit for Chicago. Let's go to the Big Apple. The 6th overall pick, New York Liberty select J.C. Sheldon. I think this is interesting out of the Ohio State. To me, they need to put some scores around Sabrina Ionescu because if you paid attention, Sabrina played off the ball more. Now you need some depth. To me, JC is a versatile guard scorer who can play both on and off the ball. Even though I think finishing at the rim is something that New York clearly struggles at. Even though I'm still holding out hopes that I'll see more impact from Dee Dee Richards and Michaela Onyeweere and a couple other guards and fours that they have, wing players. Because I mean, to not finish at the basket, that hurts your team. My only concern for JC is she's going to need a couple years to adjust to the physicality and the speed of the W. I think she's an interesting piece. I consider Grace Berger here at Indiana. I've also considered Rakia Jackson, but I think New York needs to put some ball handlers around Sabrina. And I'm curious to see what they do in the offseason because it seems like they're all tuned in for Brianna Stewart, even though I think Brianna will stay in Seattle. With the 7th overall pick, Dallas had this pick. If you remember the trade for T.R. McCowan, the Indiana Fever select Grace Berger out of Indiana University. See, this is where I'm lost too because they've got a lot of young talent. Even though, in all due respect, the Lexi Hall pick, I really cannot. That was a miss in my personal opinion. I can't remember what I gave him the draft grade, but there's something about that pick just doesn't sit well with me. The biggest thing watching them last year, even playing when I went to go see them play the Washington Mystics, they struggle to take care of the ball, score efficiently, and play defense. They need a 2 guard that can do those things. That's why I think they're most likely going to move on from Tiffany Mitchell and Victoria Vince. Not saying those girls can't do that because they can. But I just think the way I see Lynn Dunn's vision of the team. She wants players that I think fit her style of play and her system and what she wants. And I think Grace fits that. Grace can play off the ball and on the ball. She can create shots. She has a 6'1" guard, great size, strength, athleticism. And she has a good off the dribble J. She can create space. I do think that the only thing she'll probably just need to work on is her perimeter and 3-point shooting. But Grace would be a great pick for the Indiana Fever. And then we go back to the ATL, and this is where I think you get some wing depth. And I think shout out to B. Terrell of the committee. He might appreciate me for this. And remember some other members, and even Aaron. Rickea Jackson, I think, will be taken with the Atlanta Dream with this pick. I'm curious to see. I think I don't. Right now, this is all just 1.0. This is just what I think's where I think teams should go. Once we get into free agency, then that's where the 2.0 comes in, and then really well March Madness. That's when my last one will come in. So right now, this is what I think they should take. Rickea Jackson, to me, is a top 10 player in this draft. I mean, out of Tennessee, I know she's just a natural wing player. She has her skill set. I mean, to take advantage of mismatches that are given her, and particularly playing in an up-tempo system like Tennessee, Atlanta will love that. We all know coming out of Mississippi State, they're going through some changes, and I've seen the growth of Rickea Jackson under Kelly Harper, and I'm proud to see that. But I think that Atlanta should continue to have additional depth at the 4 position. You play alongside Monique Billings. Kia Vong's retired. Let's see if they'll re-sign Beatrice Montpierre. There's a couple things you got to take into consideration with Atlanta, but I think they need to continue to just build on their depth. When you're averaging almost 17 to 16 a game, almost 8 rebounds a game so far this season, come on. She's destined to be a good player, especially with that core of talent already alongside Ryan, and then potentially Haley Jones, if I'm right. Let's go. Well, before we get into that, we have 3 more picks. We're going to take a quick 30-second break with this song.
Love interrupted by tragedy, lost in the drought of nightfall, running in search of the remedy, trying to find her place in it all, focused only on the negative. All she can attract is pain. Perception is what will manifest. Thought she could escape, but it's all the same. Birds fly south for the winter, but she ran to the west side.
And we're back with the 9th overall pick. The Seattle Storm will take Deasia Fair out of Syracuse. I think Seattle should continue to build for the future. Whatever happens with Brianna, you still have a core with Jewel Lloyd, Brandon Stewart. I thought last year, I thought the acquisition of Tina Charles was weird. To me, that was a sign of that was like a desperation move. I know the Asia is coming from the MAC and has transferred to ACC. So far, we're only 6 weeks into the season. I think she's doing fine. I think she has the potential to be an elite guard in this league. She can shoot the ball. I believe University of Buffalo, where she had over 2,000 points, averaged 20 points a game as a freshman. High motor, high IQ, two-way player. She can create her own shot and create shots for others. Last year was her junior year. She shot almost 40% from the field. You want a player like that if you're Seattle. And I think she'll do well in the system with Noel Quinn, as her head coach. I considered Ashley Owusu here, Asia Blackwell. I even consider Dreana Edwards as well. But I'm sticking with Miss Fair out of Syracuse with the 10th overall pick. Can I play this clip? The Connecticut Sun select Asia Blackwell. I need my answers clip.
These are legitimate questions. I don't have answers. I'm starving for answers. I'm starving for them because I don't have them. I'm so disgusted because I got to be out there at that game this Saturday. I got to see this. Inquiring minds want to know why. I truly do want to know why.
Okay. A couple things that I think what Connecticut needs. Connecticut needs shooters. That's just not guards. They need some wings that can shoot the ball. I don't know what's going to look. This Connecticut team's going to look like next year. For all I know is it's the end of an era. Because the sixth woman of the year, Bree Jones, is a free agent. And it's looking like she'll depart. Kurt Miller's not there. He's down in Los Angeles. I don't know what this Connecticut Sun team will look like next year. And whatever it looks like, just really the whole makeup of it, the team needs to be different. I mean, you need some shooters. You need some depth at the wing and forward position. I considered Asia Blackwell because of a couple things. She can shoot the ball. She can handle the ball in the open court. Great transition guard. She can finish at the rim, and she can shoot. She's a scorer. I do think there's some perimeter transition game that needs more development, but I think in a system like Connecticut where you're playing alongside Alyssa Thomas, DeWanna Bonner, Jonquel Jones, Jasmine Thomas, Tisha Heidemann, I think you do okay. I think she'll be fine. Because watching them in the finals, they really, really need some shot creators. They need some people that can make some shots. And I considered Deanna Edwards here, but you drafted Nia Clouden last year, and either one of those would not either one of them would not be a miss for them. They really definitely need to address the 3-point shooting because that's the biggest elephant in the room. But I think the biggest thing is I'm going to be watching the free agency because I'm going to be curious. I think how they go forward. I think it's all where if Breonna Jones stays or not, and that's my fear. If she comes to Washington, I'm not mad at that. But I see somebody gonna take a pay cut. I just see it. There's just no way you can have. I can't see it. So either somebody got to take a pay cut, or someone getting traded, or she walking. That's just me. The Dallas Wings with the 11 overall picks select Deanna Edwards out of Connecticut. I mean, not Kentucky. Why say Connecticut? I'm so sorry. I think she is a physical guard that can score. She's a great three-point shooter, shooting almost 36.5% from three. Especially, um, again, I could consider that her for Connecticut. Uh, I think Dallas, they need, uh, I don't think they need really a point guard. I think they just need some guard play. Um, Even though I think they might look different because Marina Mabrey's a free agent. Uh, Tara McCowan, you got to pay her. But I'm looking at it from the standpoint of how I just Dallas is at least another year or two from being a complete team. I think the biggest thing is predicate it all. It's to me all is on Enrique Iguodala. She's the superstar. Um, I mean, they need some stability on the floor, especially when she scores off the ball. Um, but I think Deanna, I think fits that type of a system. Um, because at times there can be some lack of creativity offensively and scoring consistently. Um, I considered Stephanie Soares out of Iowa State. I also considered Charisma Osborne out of UCLA. Um, but I think you need another 3-point shooter with Enrique. And again, it all depends on how the offseason for Dallas looks because they've got some decisions to make. And with the 12th overall pick, the Minnesota Lynx select. She used to go to the University of Maryland, but she transferred painfully to Virginia Tech. Ashley Owusu. I think she would do just fine in Minnesota system. They need some scoring, and Ashley does that. I mean, she can finish at the rim. Watching her at Maryland, she can finish. She can facilitate the ball, which I think Minnesota could use. I mean, I think I didn't want to put her. I didn't want to put her with Dallas because you drafted Veronica Burton, and I don't think that's fair that you're sitting behind her. I think they need no. That's just not. I just don't think Dallas is a good fit for her. Um, okay, Ashley's not the best defender in the world, but her ability to score from the paint and the perimeter, I definitely think Cheryl Reeves would love that in a player. I also considered Asia Blackwell here, but I think Asia Blackwell will finish within the top 8 of the draft. Because I think Minnesota, I have Elizabeth Kitley, and I think that addresses what you need in terms of scoring and front court presence. But I mean, that's my first round 1.0 mock draft for the WNBA 2023 draft. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to close out with final message. Let me pull my clip up.
Incoming message.
Thoughts are running through my mind. So I took some time to find a minute or two to organize them.
Final message. The holidays are upon us. I've said this message a couple times and I'll continue to say it again. Let's just reflect on the year and just look at the positives, what's worked out for us, what hasn't worked out for us. And let's let's create small goals that will become big goals for 2023. Um, People, everyone makes these uh, big goals and of what they want to do when the new year comes out. Oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, and it doesn't happen. Start off with the small things. I think you discipline yourself, and when you um, do things that will suffice you in the short term, that makes you happy. That's the important thing. Find things. Start with the small goals. Start with the small things will make the bigger things easily. Thank you, listen. The happy holidays. Good to see you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And more importantly, man, like just continue to just try to make each day a good day. Um, I mean, the holidays for some may not be the best. Everyone goes through things, but just continue to check on loved ones. Do something for yourself. Continue to uh, just treat each day the way you want it to be, because it's your story, and the day, the outcome of the day has an impact. It's uh, how you make the day is your outcome of how you make it, if that makes sense. So that's my final message. I'll be back on tomorrow with the painfully with the Ravens and the Commanders.
Let me tell y'all something. Y'all getting on my damn nerves. What the hell is going on? Wake the hell up!
With that being said, I will catch you guys tomorrow. Y'all have a great night. Peace. Stay up.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode and you want to see more content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bring your sports game on Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
Thank you. And you help me retain my sanity. Thank you. I want to thank you. And I want to thank you. All I want to do is say thank you for everything you do.
This might be right. Either you feel it or you don't. Might give it a try, yeah. Our bodies collide. Baby, you're everything I want. Let's give it some time, yeah. Somebody told me I should hit and run, but they don't know, they don't know, they don't know. Nobody knows but us how we roll, how we roll. Nobody knows what we got but us, but us. Let them keep talking, let them believe that they know, 'cause they don't know, they don't know, they don't.
Carry the hell on.